adult toys. Graham took a wedge from the golf bag and had to choke up on the long shaft as he made a jerk swing. The bag puffed a smell of leather at him as he leaned it back against the wall. Charles Leeds things. Graham pursued Charles Leeds through the house. He hunting prints, and they hung in the den. His set of the great books were all in a row. 𝘰𝘕𝘕 annuals, H. Allen Smith, and Perlman and Max Schallman on the bookshelves. Von Goethe and Evelyn Waugh. C.S. Forrester's Beat to Quarters was open on a table. In the den closest, a good skeet gun, a Nikon camera, a Bolex Super 8 movie camera and projector. Graham, who owned almost nothing except basic fishing equipment, a third-hand Volkswagen, and 2 cases of 𝘈𝘳𝘃𝘠𝘕, felt a mild animosity toward the adult toys and wondered why. Who was Leeds? A successful tax attorney, a Swanee football player, a rangy man who liked to laugh, a man who got up and fought with his throat cut. Graham followed him through the house out of an odd sensation of obligation. Learning about him first was a way of asking permission to look at his wife. Graham felt that it was she who drew the monster, as surely as a singing cricket attracts death from the red-eyed fly. Mrs. Leeds, then. She had a small dressing room upstairs. Graham managed to reach it without looking around the bedroom. The room was yellow and appeared undisturbed except for the smashed mirror above the dressing table. A pair of L.L. Bean moccasins was on the floor in front of the closet, as though she had just stepped out of them. Her dressing gown appeared to have been flung on its peg, and the closest revealed the mild disorder of a woman who has many other closets to organize. Mrs. Leeds' diary was in a plump velvet box on the dressing table. The key was tabbed to the lid along with a check tag from the police property room. Graham sat on a spindly white chair and opened the diary at random. December 23rd, Tuesday, Mama's house. The children were still asleep when Mama's glassed in the sun porch. I hated the way it changed the looks of the house, but it was very pleasant, and I can sit here warm, looking out at the snow. How many more Christmases can she manage a house full of grandchildren? A lot, I hope. A hard drive yesterday from Atlanta, snowing after Raleigh. We had to creep. I was tired anyway from getting everyone ready. Outside Chapel Hill, Charlie stepped and stopped the car and got out. He snapped some icicles off a branch to make me a martini. He came back to the car, long legs lifting high in the snow, and there was snow in his hair and on his eyelashes, and I remembered that I love him. It felt like something breaking with a little pain and spilling warm. I hope the parka fits him. If he got me that tacky dinner ring, I'll die. I could kick Madeline's big cellulite behind for showing hers and carrying on. For ridiculously big diamonds the color of dead ice. Icicle ice is so clear. The sun came through the car window, and where the icicle was broken off, it stuck up out of the glass and made a little prism. It made a spot of red and green on my hand holding the glass. I could feel the colors on my hand. He asked me what I want for Christmas, and I cupped his cheeks into my hands, right around his ear, and whispered, "Your big prick, silly, in as far as it will go." The bald spot on the back of his head turned red. He's always afraid the children will hear. Men have no confidence in whispers. The page was flecked with Detective's cigar ash. Graham read on as the light faded through the daughter's tonsillectomy and a scare in June when Mrs. Leeds found a small lump in her breast. Dear God, the children are so small. 3 pages later, the lump was a small benign cyst, easily removed. Dr. 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘵𝘠 turned me loose this afternoon. We left the hospital and drove to the pond. We hadn't been there in a long while. There never seems to be enough time. Charlie had 2 bottles of champagne on ice, and we drank them and fed the ducks while the sun went down. He stood at edge of the water with his back to me for a while, and I think he cried a little. Susan said she was afraid we were coming home from the hospital with another brother for her. Home. Graham heard the telephone ring in the bedroom. A click and the hum of an answering machine. "Hello, this is Valerie Leeds. I'm sorry I can't come to the phone right now, but if you'll leave your name and number after the tone, we'll get back to you. Thank you." Graham half expected to hear Crawford's voice after the beep, but there was always a dial tone. The caller had hung up. He had heard her voice. Now he wanted to see her. He went down to the den. He had in his pocket a reel of Super 8 movie film belonging to Charles Leeds. 3 weeks before his death, Leeds had left the film with a druggist who sent it away for processing. He never picked it up. Police found the receipt in the Leeds' wallet and got the film from the druggist. Detectives viewed the home movie along with family snapshots developed at the same time and found nothing of interest. Graham wanted to see the Leeds alive. At the police station, the detectives had offered Graham their projector. He wanted to watch the movie at the house. Reluctantly, they let him check it out of the property room. Graham found the screen and projector in the den closet, set them up, and sat down in Charles Leeds' big leather armchair to watch. He felt something tacky on the chair arm under his palm. A child's sticky fingerprints fuzzed with lint. Graham's hand smelled like candy. It was a pleasant little silent home movie, more imaginative than most. It opened with a dog, a gray Scotty, asleep on the den rug. The dog was disturbed momentarily by the movie making and raised his head to look at the camera. Then he went to sleep again. A jumpy cut to the dog, still asleep. Then the Scotty's ears perked up. He rose and barked, and the camera followed him to the kitchen as he ran to the door and stood expectantly, shivering and wagging his stumpy tail. Graham bit his lower lip and waited too. On the screen, the door opened and Mrs. Leeds came in carrying groceries. She blinked and laughed in surprise and touched her tousled hair with her free hand. Her lips moved as she walked out of the picture, and the children came in behind her carrying smaller sacks. The girl was 6, the boys 8 and 10. The younger boy, apparently a veteran of home movies, pointed to his ears and wiggled them. The camera was positioned fairly high. Leeds was 75 inches tall, according to the coroner's report. Graham believed that this part of the movie must have been made in the early spring. The children wore windbreakers, and Mrs. Leeds appeared pale. At the morgue, she had a good tan and bathing suit marks. Brief scenes followed of the boys playing ping pong in the basement, and the girl, Susan, wrapping a present in her room, tongue curled over her upper lip in concentration, and a wisp of hair down her forehead. She brushed her hair back with her plump hand, as her mother had done in the kitchen. A subsequent scene showed Susan in a bubble bath, crouched like a small frog. She wore a large shower cap. The camera angle was lower and the focus uncertain, clearly the work of a brother. The scene ended with her shouting soundlessly at the camera and covering her 6-year-old chest as her shower cap slipped down over her eyes. Not to be outdone, Leeds had surprised Mrs. Leeds in the shower. The shower curtain bumped and bulged as the curtain does before a grade school theatrical. Mrs. Leeds' arm appeared around the curtain, and her hand was a large bath sponge. The scene closed with the lens obscured and soap suds. The film ended with a shot of Norman Vincent Peale speaking on a television and a pan to Charles Leeds snoring in the chair where Graham now sat. Graham stared at the blank square of light on the screen. He liked the Leeds. He was sorry that he had been to the morgue. He thought the madman who visited them might have liked them too, but the madman would like them better the way they were now. Graham's head felt stuffed and stupid. He swam in the pool at his hotel until he was rubber-legged and came out of the water thinking of 2 things at once: a �々𝘶𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎 martini and the taste of Molly's mouth. He made the martini himself in a plastic glass and telephoned Molly. "Hello, hotshot." "Hey, baby, where are you?" "In this damned hotel in Atlanta." "Doing some good?" "None you'd notice. I'm lonesome." "Me too." "Horny." "Me too." "Tell me about yourself." "Well, I had a run-in with Mrs. Holper today. She wanted to return a dress with a huge, big whiskey stain on the seat. I mean, obviously she had worn it to the JC thing." "And what did you say?" I told her I didn't sell it to her like that.
And what did she say?
She said she never had any trouble returning dresses before, which was one reason she shopped at my place rather than some others that she knew about.
And then what did she say?
Well, I told her that I was upset because Will talks like a jackass on the phone.
I see.
Willie's fine. He's covering some turtle eggs the dogs dug up. Tell me what you're doing.
Reading reports, eating junk food.
Thinking a good bit, I expect.
Yep.
Can I help you?
I just don't have a lock on anything, Molly. There's not enough information. Well, there's a lot of information, but I haven't done enough with it.
Will you be in Atlanta for a while? I'm not bugging you about coming home. I just wonder.
I don't know. I'll be here a few more days at least. I miss you.
Want to talk about fucking?
I don't think I could stand it. I think maybe we better not do that.
Do what?
Talk about fucking.
Okay. You don't mind if I think about it, though?
Absolutely not.
We've got a new dog.
Oh, hell.
Looks like a cross between a basset hound and a Pekingese.
Lovely.
He's got big balls.
Never mind about the balls.
They almost drag the ground. He has to retract them when he runs.
He can't do that.
Yes, he can. You don't know how.
Yes, I do know.
Can you retract yours?
I thought we were coming to that.
Well,
if you must know, I retracted them once.
When was that?
In my youth. I had to clear a barbed wire fence in a hurry.
Why?
I was carrying this watermelon that I had not cultivated.
You were fleeing? From whom?
A swine herd of my acquaintance. Alerted by his dogs, he burst from his dwelling in his BVDs, waving a fleeing piece. Fortunately, he tripped over a butterbean trellis and gave me a running start.
Did he shoot you?
I thought so at the time, yes, but the reports I heard might have issued from my behind. I've never been entirely clear on that.
Did you clear the fence?
Handedly.
A criminal mind, even at that age.
I don't have a criminal mind.
Of course you don't. I'm thinking about painting the kitchen. What color do you like? Will? What color do you like? Are you there?
Yeah, yellow. Let's paint it yellow.
Yellow is a bad color for me. I'll look green at breakfast.
Blue then.
Blue is cold.
Well, god damn it, paint a baby shit tan for all I care. No. Look, I'll probably be home before long, and we'll go to the paint store and get some chips and stuff, okay? And maybe some new handles and that.
Let's get some handles.
I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff.
Look, I love you, and I miss you, and you're doing the right thing. It's costing you too, I know that. I'm here, and I'll be here whenever you come home. Or I'll meet you anywhere, anytime. That's what.
Dear Molly, dear Molly, go to bed now.
All right.
Good night.
Graham lay with his hands behind his head and conjured dinners with Molly. Stone crab and 𝘠𝘕𝘠. The salt breeze mixed with the wine. But it was his curse to pick at conversations, and he began to do it now. He had snapped at her after a harmless remark about his criminal mind. Stupid. Graham found Molly's interest in him largely inexplicable. He called police headquarters and left word for Springfield that he wanted to start helping with the legwork in the morning. There was nothing else to do. The gin helped him sleep.